Hello, my friends. Welcome to my channel and my video. And hi, welcome. That was a nonsense intro. Okay, we're chaotic energy immediately starting. So we're gonna be doing a 24-hour readathon today, but we are specifically gonna be doing it with the timer. So that means every time I start reading, I am gonna put the timer on. Every time I stop, it pauses. And we're gonna very specifically see how much can I read in 24 hours. This is very needed right now. I have so many books checked out from the library, so many that I want to read on my TBR, on Kindle, like everything. And I just kind of want to catch up with where my reading goals have been because I haven't read a crazy amount the last week, and I want to catch up a little. So this, very realistically, we are not going to be doing this 24 hours straight. There is zero chance. I have too much going on and I need sleep, desperately need sleep. So this, honestly, my goal is to do this over 3 days. I do work a 9 to 5 and I have life. I have a lot of the normal adult responsibilities, unfortunately. So I can't devote 24 hours straight to reading, but because it is currently Friday evening, I am hoping that I can start it today and then actually maybe 4 days if we're being real, because we have Monday off work and I would really like to try to devote Saturday, Sunday, Monday to try and finish 24 hours and see how much we can actually get done in this time and how many books we can read, because I'm a fast reader. I will say that very honestly, and I know I'm definitely faster than the average person. So I do think that we have a good chance that we can get through like a significant amount of books, and I would love to challenge myself to see like how many we can actually hit. So welcome to the channel. As I said, it's Friday evening. It's around 4 p.m. right now, and I do have to run for an eye appointment very shortly, but when I get home, on my way home, I'm planning on picking up a coffee, like a large coffee and a snack. I'm going to order in tonight, and otherwise it is going to be 100% focused on reading, or 100% minus a potential workout time. Otherwise, so like 80%, because we'll see. I think I should get a workout in tonight because my body is feeling like it needs to move, but otherwise we're going to be reading as much as we can this weekend. I don't think there's really any other plans. My husband and I might go to a movie tomorrow. We might go to a spa maybe this weekend. Actually, I'm thinking that like that's a big plan. If we go to a spa, that's a huge day, but we haven't set any plans like in concrete yet, so I don't know for sure what we'll be doing. Otherwise, I just want to read and I want to hang out and get through a lot of good books. So I'm not going to set a TBR, not even going to talk about like what books I might want to read, because I think I'm just going to chaotically mood read. I might skip between books. I might be reading multiple books at once, but it is very much just going to be whatever comes to mind at the time, whatever I see that piques my interest. That's what we're going to go. And I don't know where I'm going to start. Haven't decided yet, but I just wanted to start this intro, and then when I get back, we will start this timer and dive into it tonight. So welcome to the channel. I hope this intro wasn't too chaotic because it feels like that was a mess. It feels like everything I just said was nonsense, but hi, welcome, and I hope you enjoy the video. We're about an hour and a half in, and I'm flipping between two books. So I'm about 15 to 20% into each of them. And the first one is Nocticadia by Carrie Lake. And this is what I wanted to read more in spooky season, because it's very gothic and like a very dark academia kind of thing, which I'm always looking for more dark academia books, so this is fun. But we're following a 20-something girl who, when she was younger, also we have a kitty visitor. When she was younger, her mother died in like a really, really weird way. So she became incredibly paranoid and started having these really weird symptoms and saying that like people infected her, she had things inside of her, all these things. And when she died, Lilia, our main character, saw like these worms come out of her. So she saw her like vomit up all these worms, and this has like resulted in crazy PTSD. So for a microbiology class, she is is doing, like, they have this project where they have to like kind of create their own disease in a sense and like write a research paper explaining all the etymology of it and everything. And so she writes about her mother's experience, but turns out her professor actually recognizes this. So he studied at this very mysterious and prestigious school that has kind of like a secret research project going on where they intensely look into this infection by these worms, parasite things, and it's like all under the wraps. Nobody really knows about it, but it very much exists. So now that it's been identified that she knows about it, she basically ends up getting offered a full scholarship to go to this school and to continue research because she knows the secret and they think she seems brilliant. So she right now is heading to that school. It all seems a little creepy, a little weird, and I'm really into the vibes for it. So like I'm really excited to keep going. And then I'm also reading The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. McLean, and this is like, so imagine any of our fantasy world where there's all these magical creatures, and basically exactly like how people in our world have done. A lot of these creatures are now endangered because they've been basically hunted to extinction because poachers think that all of these different things could potentially like the feathers or especially or like their horns, whatever, can be used in magical treatments. But there is actually like merit to this. Like there's proof that if you use, say, like phoenix feathers, it will, like a regular regimen of it will increase your lifespan by like 20 years. So we're following a girl who, she is extremely socially awkward. Other kitties here. She's extremely socially awkward and extremely like socially anxious, but literally all she cares about in life is her animals and phoenixes specifically. So she works at a zoo where she's basically in charge of a few different, like mostly just aviary birds, like aviary type of creatures. Her main passion is that she's trying to bring a breeding program for phoenixes to her zoo. And yeah, it seems like we're just kind of following like the life at the zoo as she's trying to get this breeding program to happen, but also there's this looming threat because so many different animals get abducted by poachers, and there's always this looming threat of that could happen, and also they're trying to revive these animals from extinction. So I'm actually like, I'm enjoying it. It's like kind of cozy in a sense because of that, and it's like very interesting to think of this idea of like what would happen if you had a magical zoo. Like what kind of considerations would you have to put in place for the animals? Like what would you need to do to make sure that all of these magical creatures live happily? And it's kind of crazy, like the idea of the zoo is just basically like exactly how it is today with all the animals going potentially extinct in our world and how people want to go see them. So I don't know, I like it. It's kind of, I don't know, it's just a weird thought process of like a magical zoo, but I like it. And I don't think it's something that I've ever really thought about before. I don't think I've ever seen it in a book before, and I think that it is like such a unique idea. But really enjoying both of them so far, and absolutely going to be like continuing and focusing on these for the rest of the night. I wanted to show like the cutest bookmarks in the world. So my best friend's husband 3D printed these for me, and like I'm amazed. So they're all just plastic, and I honestly like can't get over how cool these are. They're super textured and stuff too, and like I'm obsessed. Like this honestly makes me want to get a 3D printer because he said he just found the pattern online and like bought it, and I like really want to know what other kind of like bookmarks you could get and 3D print. So cool. Then also I actually got some in from Beck in the Books. She posted a few for sale on her Etsy store, which I haven't opened it yet. I feel like I need to show to you how I've reorganized my my stationery drawer because I am so into it. But let's open this. I think I only ordered 2. I've been trying, I love collecting bookmarks, but I'm trying to like rein it in a little. So this one, if it ain't Faye, it ain't Faye, or if he ain't Faye. So these are part of her Patreon exclusive bookmarks, but she had some overstock of some of them and released. It kind of makes me want to be like one of the top tiers of her Patreon. I'm already subscribed, but like the top tier, you get a monthly bookmark, which I think is so worth it. And then this is for Spookopoly, which I did participate in last month. I didn't vlog it, but I did have a very fun time doing Spookopoly, and it's just may the rules be ever in your favor. And there's a pink side and a purple side. While I'm thinking of it, I am going to share my stationery drawer because I'm very proud on how it looks. I reorganized this while super stressed the other day. So I have some pens, all my washi tape. Here's a bunch of like art prints that I've gotten in from like Illumicrate and Fruit Loop that I don't know what to do with. And I honestly think I'm just going to cut them up and put into my reading journals. Reading journals over there. I have some notebooks. I have all of my tabs for tabbing books and all of my stickers. So some of these are in bags just to keep it easier. And then I have various sticker sheets down below. And here's some more stickers. So I have a bunch in here that are like just random things, like that's a landscape. I know I have some Van Gogh inspired ones, and then these are like coffee and everything. I don't know if that even showed, but those are coffee. So I have so many stickers, and I just wanted it to be a little more organized, especially like knowing where all my tabs are. My washi tape was like going everywhere in my drawer, so I'm happy to have that a little more organized. And yeah, this is very much like one of my little hobbies. I love doing my reading journal, and I just like have fun doing all the artwork in it. I am definitely planning on doing like a reading journal flip through at the end of the year as well, so keep your eye out for that. But let's update. So I'm a little under 4 hours in. I didn't get quite as much read last night as I was hoping to, but we're in a good position to read quite a bit today. And I am now 56% into The Phoenix Keeper. I'm loving this. This is the coziest fantasy book ever. It's honestly like, so not insanely low stakes, but low stakes, where we're just following a zookeeper who specifically focuses on phoenixes, and she is trying to participate in this phoenix breeding program. So there's a problem. She's trying to get into this program, and then she's trying to upgrade the facility, and now she's trying to get the phoenixes to breed. And it's just very much like there's obvious stakes. There's obviously stakes. There's obviously things happening, but it's nothing like life or death in a lot of ways. So it's just a very, very cozy, like we're going through her daily life as a zookeeper and all of these things that she's doing to keep the zoo going and to take care of her animals, and just seeing her passion for her animals and her kind of like starting to rely on other people and coming a bit out of her comfort zone, like because she's not somebody who would ever like ask for help or really approach any of her coworkers, but she's starting to finally like get to know other people and realize that she does need help if she wants to succeed in this. I'm loving it. It is so cozy and so cute, and I am obsessed with the idea of a magical zoo. And then I'm also 41% into Nocticadia, obsessed too. This is an insanely good gothic, like it's not gothic, but it's giving gothic vibes, and it's not a fantasy, but it's giving that, but it's dark academia. And we're following our main character Lilia as she's at this very mysterious school learning about this very creepy disease, and she's trying to unravel it, like all these answers. And we're also following the perspective of one of the professors who is like specialized in this, I guess, parasite, and all of his like secret investigations that he does into it, and like secret experiments that are like not okay. Creepy as shit. And it has like a very like dark romanced kind of underlying plot, it seems to be going. Like I do think there's going to be romance between the two of them, and I think it's going to be creepy and weird, and just the entire vibe of this book is creepy, and I'm loving it. It is really like giving me everything I want. It's through and through giving creepy dark academia, and I love it. Like I cannot believe how much I'm enjoying this one. So I'm like so happy with it. So yeah, like great for both of these. We're doing fantastic. I'm so happy, and I'm gonna just keep reading today because I can't wait. I just want to be like so invested in these books. And yeah, my goal, I don't realistically, originally I was thinking like, oh, maybe I could aim for 8 hours to read today. I don't think that's gonna happen. We'll see if I can get like 5 hours. I don't know how much I'm doing today. Like definitely gonna work out at some point. I did film my October wrap up today, and I'd like to try and start editing this video. I think is coming out in December, but we are early November right now. And yeah, like my husband and I were talking maybe a movie tonight, but I'm checking like, and there's not really anything in theaters that I want to see, so maybe we'll do something at home. I think either tonight or tomorrow too. We've been talking about we want to do like homemade pizza, so we'll see if that's tonight. Either way, like I'm probably just gonna hang out with my husband for a long time, and we'll see how much reading actually gets done. It's one of those like, if he really wants to game, I love like, we love hanging out in the same room like while he games and I read. And and that like works so perfectly for us. So we'll see if that's kind of where it goes tonight. But either way, I can't wait to keep going on these books. Hey, so I did like 0 check-ins yesterday, but since we last spoke, I'm about another hour in. Really, yesterday did not end up being a strong reading day at all, and I feel like this is already turning into way more days than I wanted it to be. But I finished reading The Phoenix Keeper. This was such a perfect, cozy, romantasy book. It ended up like the romance itself ended up going in a way that I was so thrilled with, because there's this original love interest who I was like, no, if this is the guy, I am going to riot. This is terrible. Ends up going in a fantastic way and truly has the coziest, happiest vibes that anyone could hope for. I loved this world. The magic was kind of confusing. It was also like an entirely new world. So there's references to all these different provinces and countries and stuff. And I felt like that part was not necessarily as fleshed out as maybe I would have wanted, but at the same time, highly, highly enjoyable. I think that it was just super cozy. One that, like, again, very low stakes, but there was enough happening, enough that we were really invested in following, or I was invested at least in following the story of getting these phoenixes bred and making sure that everything is going okay in the zoo and just all of these internal politics of the zoo. Plus following our main character as she is like really finding herself and finding her inner confidence and actually like realizing that she should work alongside the people at the zoo and that will definitely be beneficial to her. It was great. I gave it 4 stars. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. So today we're going to try and read as much as possible. I'm very disappointed in myself that I have only read this much 2 days in. So we're going to try to focus. I'm definitely going to be continuing on Nocticadia. I have so many other books that I potentially could continue on in as well. So I'm very excited to keep going in all of them. And yeah, we're going to keep reading as much as we can today, which is great. That's a perfect day for me. Today somehow inadvertently turned into the day of just finishing books that I'm in the middle of, and I love it. I decided to just pick up a few random ones that I had ongoing and that were just sitting around on my TBR, and I'd kind of never actually devoted time to, and made really good progress. So we are now 10 hours in, so we have about 14 hours left of this. Better today than it has been. Still not perfection, but we're doing good. First off, I am 80-ish% into Nocticadia, loving it still. We've now progressed to still in this dark academia setting, really studying these mysterious worm-like things that cause a parasite infection. I'm not 100% following some of the research that's being done, which is weird. I do have a biology background. I just think that some of it is not entirely clearly written about how the infection propagates and what a lot of the research they're doing is. So this is just me with a science background having an overly critical mind of it. And there is this is 100%, I don't think a spoiler by any means, but there does end up being a student-teacher relationship, which I'm not the biggest fan of. I don't really like any of these relationships where there's a huge power imbalance. I always feel just a little icky about it. But so that's one thing that I can't get invested in that relationship. Otherwise, I think that the writing is perfection. The atmosphere is incredible, and it is really, really thoroughly just drawing me into the story. So I'm super, super into it. I think it's not going to be a 5-star, but a 4-star probably. I think primarily because I can't get on board with this relationship. That's what's going to stop it from being a 5, but otherwise deeply enjoying it. And yeah, I finished 2 books today. Two other books, I guess. So first off, Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. This is her newest release, and it's another one of her dark fairy tale kind of books. In this one, we're following a young girl named Cordelia, whose mother is a sorceress, and Cordelia's raised her entire life kind of unable, not only unwilling, but unable to break any rules and not follow these strict things that her mother set out for her. So her mother, because she's a sorceress, is able to control people around her, and she very much wields this to Cordelia and forces her to kind of be the perfect daughter in a lot of ways. She's not able to talk out, to have her own opinions, to really do anything that's stepping out of line, or else she'll be terribly punished. And they live in this small town. The mysterious benefactor, aka the man who her mother had been manipulating for years, finally decided to stop providing for them. So So it then led to them moving to a new city where Cordelia's mother, the sorceress, latches onto a new man and is basically trying to seduce him and like really get into his good graces. But while there, they end up staying with him. He's kind of just like initially being a good man and like, these are my new acquaintances, I'm letting them stay with us for a bit. But through time, his sister, who very quickly realizes, I guess, that like something is off and that this woman is evil, and she and Cordelia end up teaming up together to try and find a way to take down the sorceress and get her to stop like having such an intense impact on their lives and stop controlling everything. Really, really enjoyed this one. I'm giving it 4 stars. It, I will say, didn't grip me in the same way that a lot of T. Kingfisher's books have, and that is definitely my primary complaint with it. It just, I don't know, there was something missing that really would have me like 100% hooked on it. I don't know if it's because we're following the perspective of a 14-year-old girl, and I felt like maybe that this young tone and versus the like brutal things that are happening in the story at some points, maybe there was a little bit of a disconnect there. Maybe it would have been a little bit better to have an aged up main character. And also, like, I'm not into YA necessarily. I don't think this is YA, but I'm not necessarily into reading from younger voices, I guess. Like, it could have been a bit more interesting if it was, say, an 18-year-old girl, but at the same time, I understand that in order for her mother to keep controlling her to this level, it kind of needed to be a younger girl who like hasn't found her way yet, hasn't found her confidence. So I enjoyed it. I just think it could have gone a little further in a few ways. And yeah, 4 stars because I did really enjoy it. I do like T. Kingfisher's writing a lot. I just wish, I don't know, there's something missing that I just wish could have been there a little bit more. And then I finished also The Rom-Commers by Catherine Center. I'm actually really angry at this one. I think Catherine Center has really, really good writing, but something about all of her books just ends up not quite working for me. So in the last one, like The Bodyguard, I couldn't connect. Couldn't find it as funny as I think it was meant to be. Hello Stranger, I think like the main character was just so ridiculously stupid that I couldn't get on board with that. And then in this one, the male love interest was just so incredibly rude and so dismissive of the female main character that I hated him. I hated him at every turn. So we have Charlie, who's like this famous screenwriter, and he's written a rom-com that is terrible. And their agent brings in Emma, who is basically a struggling writer who's trying to get her own projects off the bat and is also a writing professor to come in and like help him rewrite it. But Charlie doesn't want this screenplay to see the light of day because he's like embarrassed by the rom-com genre. And he's only doing it as like leverage for this movie studio who agrees like if he does it, he can greenlight his passion project. And that's fine. It's like at first he really strongly doesn't believe in rom-coms, which is fine, whatever. But there are so many things where he is constantly down talking our main character Emma, and constantly she's overhears him at least like 3 separate times talking about how he doesn't want to do this project, how stupid it is, how ridiculous like she is, and that he thinks her entire passion is a waste of time and all of these things. And he is just constantly dismissive of her passions and downplaying like everything that she loves, you know, like really, really talking down on everything about her. And I couldn't get on board with that. He was also just an asshole the whole time. Like there were very, very few moments that he shows kindness, and most of them kind of seem like in the wake of him doing terrible, it seems like he was counteracting it with doing something nice. And it was not enough, you know, like it didn't do anything nearly enough to make me want to root for the characters. I just felt like he was an asshole the entire time. And yeah, it's making me want to give this one, I think I'm gonna give it 2 stars because the writing was good. Overall, I think the writing in this one was my like best experience with Catherine Center, in that I actually was engaged in the story, but I also hated him through and through. So, you know, that kind of ruined it for me. So, 2 stars. And yeah, there we go. We have 2 more done today. So great progress. Still 14 hours to go, which is a little ridiculous, but maybe I'll read a bit more tonight before bed. We'll see. And we'll see how much we can do tomorrow. Okay, we're down to like a little under 9 hours. And today, no matter what, we are getting this done. So let's talk a little bit about what the reading I've been doing while I finish getting ready. So I have finished 2 books. One of them we never talked about, but that is completely fine. But the first one we did was Nocticadia. So last time I checked in, I was very close to done. Also, I'm using a broken brush and this ColourPop blush. This is in the shade Flamingo, just like a very cool pink. So yeah, finished Nocticadia. Didn't have very much left of it when we last checked in, but really enjoyed it. Gave it 4 stars. Very similar reasons to what I was saying before. Like it just wasn't quite perfect for me. And I think a lot of it is just I don't like the student-teacher relationship. I I just find them a little bit icky, if we're being very honest. So it's one of those things that I can never like fully 100% get behind, as much as I kind of wish that I could. Then for highlighter, I'm going to use Serengeti highlighter by What's Up Beauty. Yeah, it's just something that I always feel a little gross about. So it's 4 stars just because I didn't necessarily love that. And also I do feel like the ending ended up being a little bit rushed and a little bit chaotic, but otherwise really enjoyed it. And I've started, well, actually I'll talk about the one I finished first, which is We Used to Live Here. And this is just a little horror book. Wasn't super long. It was like 250-ish pages, but very weird. So it started off, we're following this couple who have bought this like really old house to renovate, and one of them is home alone. And this like family shows up with the father being like, I grew up in this house, we used to live here, like this is where I grew up, I just want to show my kids. And our main character, her name's Eve, and she's like very like, no, I don't think you should come in, this feels weird. And the family like pushes her a little on it, and then she relents and is like, yeah, you know, okay, come in for 15 minutes, take a look around. Things devolve very much from there, where they're supposed to be there for 15 minutes. One of the daughters ends up like hiding in the house and like in this creepy place in the basement, and then they end up staying there for hours and hours. And then there's a snowstorm, so they stay longer, and there's just a lot of things like that. And it goes really off the rails. I think this was a very good horror because it creeped me the fuck out. A lot of it was just really freaky, but there is some issues like I could not get past. So the couple, the partner Charlie, was, I don't know, I felt like she completely dismissed like every like misgiving that Eve was having, everything that Eve was like concerned about. Charlie was just like 100% like just putting her down and not like listening to any of her worries of like, this family is there enforcing their time in, and Eve is very deeply uncomfortable, and Charlie just like, I don't know, keeps just not acknowledging that and just kind of ignoring a lot of that. So eyeshadow, I'm going to be doing a bunch of like miscellaneous palettes because I have a few shadows and like project pans, which I'm going to start posting about because I'm doing an eyeshadow like pan in every palette kind of thing. So I'm just aiming to put different pans in my palettes. But yeah, I felt like Charlie was incredibly dismissive of a lot of Eve's stresses, and that was not my favorite. But also this went in such an unhinged direction that I kind of love. Like it did not go in any sense like something that I thought would make sense, which I think kind of made it almost better because it was just ridiculous. But yeah, like that 100% worked for me. So it was just the type of horror that I really enjoy, and it was just unhinged and weird enough that it definitely worked for me. So I'm giving that one 4 stars, which I'm very happy with. I haven't read a lot of horror this year either, so it feels kind of good to have one that I've enjoyed quite this much. And it's definitely kind of making me want to read some more, to like pick some more up soonish. And yeah, it wasn't a long book, but I will say that one took me a lot longer than I anticipated to finish it. I think entirely just because it was kind of creeping me out. So I kept like just going slowly and not wanting to rush through it, which is fine. That's completely fine, I think. But yeah, that one is done, and that one kind of took up majority of the chunk of time to finish. And now I've started 2 others. So I started The Spell Shop by Sarah Bethter, and this one is a very cozy fantasy. And I don't know, like it's apparently classified as romantasy. I am not seeing that vibe at all right now, but I'm really enjoying it. So I'm about, I think 20-ish, 21% into this one, and we're following a librarian. So in this world, there's this capital city, I guess, where the emperor rules, and right now they're undergoing this huge rebellion. So she is a librarian, our main character, who works at this great library, and she sees all of these burnings starting to happen, and it looks like the rebellion is starting to come and potentially attack the library. So she and her assistant, who is a sentient potted plant, which cool, just a fun magical creature, is a sentient plant who, yeah, just is her best friend also. And the two of them like pack up as many books as they can and then leave to take refuge on the small island that she grew up with her family. And yeah, that's pretty much it so far. She's getting to this island and going to be trying to figure out a way to make ends meet. I do believe from what I've read and heard that she starts selling jam and illegal spells to try and live, which I think could be super cute. So yeah, I'm getting a good vibe from this one. It just seems like it has a really nice like magical vibe. And then I'm also, like 11% into Quicksilver, which is another very popular fantasy romance release from this year. And I really don't know too much about this one so far. far, but we are following a young girl who is a thief. She stole some kind of gauntlet from a member of the Queen's Guard, and she's about to be caught for this, and that's like punishable by death, I guess. She lives in, there's cities divided into different wards, so she's in ward 3, which is like quarantined because it's considered like the plague ward, and that's kind of the only part I'm at so far. Not much else has happened, but we just are following our main character as a thief, and you can tell she's a good fighter, and she's been living in this small city or this small ward, sneaking out, trying to survive, also raising her younger brother. So it seems enjoyable so far. Not really getting anything so much so far. It seems like it could be enjoyable. So I'm gonna finish getting ready, probably film a little reel with my lipstick and stuff, and then we're gonna read as much as possible. I'm gonna try to read, definitely finish The Spell Shop and Quicksilver today, which I think is very potentially possible. And yeah, that's kind of just the plan for today. So I'll check in later. All right, so we're officially into like just a little bit over 3 hours left. So we are actually like really making progress today, which feels amazing. So since we last spoke, I finished The Spell Shop and I'm now like 30-ish% into Quicksilver. So The Spell Shop, really enjoyed it. I'm giving it 4 stars. I thought this was so cute, so cozy, and my only confusion is like I feel like this one definitely, so it was nominated for Goodreads Romantasy, and I feel like it definitely should have stayed in the fantasy realm. So we're very much following just this librarian who moves back to her childhood island that she's from. Her parents have passed, but this is where she originally grew up before they like moved to the big city, and she's there and trying to like make a life for herself, also bringing her best friend who's a sentient plant which is hilarious. But they decide to start dabbling in magic, which is considered illegal for anybody outside of like licensed spellcasters, I guess, to do. But they decide to start like trying spells to just help out the island, because there used to be like a regular retinue of spellcasters who would come and like help with all of these issues. So like there's these mer horses that they're only able to reproduce through magical intervention, basically. So they need help from sorcerers to get certain things going. And then there's all these trees that are kind of like starting to die because they don't have the proper nutrients, I guess, which they needed through magic. There's all these storms. So she's starting to come out with these little remedies to help all of these magical creatures. And she decides she's going to do this, but kind of keep it as like a secret. So she's going to sell like these little magical remedies, but just say they're like, oh, they're like a special home recipe that we just kind of like, it might just help a little, but really try to play off that they're not magical. And at the same time, sell jam, because for some reason she has decided that is her passion in life now, aside from books, is that she just really wants to be a jam maker. And it's super cute. It was really just her like getting like a home on this island, or really becoming a part of the community, becoming passionate about these things, really trying to help out the community, and getting like incredibly invested in making sure that they succeed. And it was, yeah, very cute, very low stakes. Again, it really falls in line with all of these cozy fantasies that have been coming out lately, where the stakes are relatively low, slightly higher in this one, which did make it a little bit more interesting to read. But at the same time, it wasn't anything that was like stressful. Like you knew it was going to end up completely fine. So I'm giving that one 4 stars. It did take me a little bit longer to read than I anticipated. I will say it was like a little bit slower, and just because of that, like my attention slightly waned at times. So I wasn't like 100% speed reading through it, because it just wasn't quite as exciting. It was just a very slow like story, but I'm giving it 4 stars. I did really enjoy it. And now I'm like 30-ish% into Quicksilver, which I can tell this one is going to take me a bit longer to read as well, because it is, I don't know, it's a really good fantasy romance so far. We're following this world. So our main character, she's a human, and there's mentions of the Fae, but it's basically in her world, Fae are thought to have been either completely wiped out, or mythical creatures, or something that like they're still potentially there, but just not part of their world anymore. And she is arrested for stealing property of the queen and is brought to this dungeon to be executed. But while the execution is in process, something weird happens, and she activates this magic known as Quicksilver, which is basically a chemical that allows basic transportation between different worlds. So she accidentally opens up a portal portal to the Fae realm, and from here now she's getting involved with the Fae who are there trying to get this magic going again, so that like travel can be between realms can happen again, because I guess the Fae have a huge vendetta against this queen of the human realm and want to take her down. And this queen had used some kind of magic to completely stop any transportation, which has caused like huge uproar within all the worlds. So she's now working with the Fae to kind of like get this going again. But at the same time, the king's like, I guess, stepson is this like incredibly dangerous, sexy warrior who's working alongside her, because I guess he has intimate knowledge of like how this quicksilver works, and there's something going on between them. So I'm enjoying it. Gonna be a slower read just because it is a bit of a longer one. I think it's over 600 pages, so it is taking a little bit longer, but I am enjoying it quite a bit. And yeah, so we only have like a little bit over 3 hours now, which definitely I will get done tonight. I don't know honestly if I'll finish Quicksilver or not, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to get as far in as I can, and we'll see if I update later. There's a good chance that I'll just check in tomorrow if I am too tired by the time is up, because I think it's 7 now, so we'll just see how tired I am. But I will get the time all done today. Hi, so it's the next day and we are officially done. As I was kind of expecting, I didn't end up feeling like updating yesterday. And we got to 72% into Quicksilver, which, yeah, I'm loving. I'm really, really deeply enjoying this one. It has so many of the marks of like a very, very classic like romantasy book. And in a lot of ways, it's actually reminding me of A Court of Mist and Fury. For some reason, like, it's just like this human girl and a fae. He's this like incredibly revered warrior who's also known for being incredibly dangerous. There's this like war she's learning about. She's helping him because of these special powers she has. There's just a lot of things going on that are giving me Court of Mist and Fury vibes. And yeah, I am thoroughly enjoying it. So we're done. We hit the 24 hours thread, which I have to say, this took way longer than I thought it would. I'm a little bit upset with myself because of that. Like, I was really, really hoping that I could have gotten this done in 3 days. It ended up being more like 5. And yeah, I wish I could have gotten this done a little bit sooner, because it felt like it just ended up turning into a weekly vlog more than like a little challenge. But we did get a lot read, which feels great. Like, definitely the fact that I used this to kind of finish a few books that I was in the middle of, that I'd powered through a few of my more anticipated reads, that feels fantastic. And I am very, very happy with this. I think that I would like to retry this challenge, but very much trying to fit it, like, say within a 48-hour period, like trying to fit these 24 hours within 48 hours, if that makes sense. Something more like that, so it doesn't feel like it's dragging on. But we're gonna end off the video here. So thank you so much for watching this. If you haven't already, I would love if you would consider subscribing and liking this video. We will have tons more fun videos coming out soon, especially this month. There are so many coming. So yeah, please keep your eye on for more videos, and I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you soon. Bye.